connected as we go into the metaverse. What we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse. What up, folks? It's the Midlife Crew here. We are freaking stoked to have Anthony and Prime Planet here. I want to say Primate Planet, but I will not say that anymore because it is Prime Planet now. Dude, we're going to have a blast of a night. We're already having a good time. I actually was having such a good time. I ran down and got a beer before we went on because we were already having such great conversation. This man drinking a beer. Maddie's probably drinking Hard Mountain Dew because that exists. What? I didn't know it. Look, he's got a Hard Mountain Dew. This is going to be a hell of a night. It's going to be a hell of a night, gentlemen. Maddie, how you doing? As you know, I'm amped up, bro. Did you have a good day?
Oh, dude, fired up. We were, you nailed it. We were having such a good conversation. We were like, we should probably go live with this. So yeah. it was a good time. I think we're going to be fast friends here. This is going to be a really fun conversation for sure.
Dude,
but had a great day, man. How about you, man?
You know what? It is finally 75 degrees and sunny every day. Not humid here. Had a little pool contractor come out. We're thinking about reimagining the backyard. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things happening here in the future. So yeah, things are great, man. Dude, tons of midlife content I crunched together. I think people are starting to realize who the hell we are. This is fantastic. And I can't wait because people like Anthony, we're becoming friends and we're going to build each other up together. That is what this brand is about. Winning together, people. That's what it's all about because that's how you win in life. Together, not alone. Who we got here? We got, of course, we've got God. We've got Yolanda. We've got Metasculptor. We got Zap Dan. Thank you all for being here. We know we'll get the more viewers as the night goes on. But with that being said, I want to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony. Founder. I think founder is co-founder, founder? What is the right term? I have founder up there. That's what I'm calling you.
I don't like to say founder because I didn't find the project.
Ooh, I'm going to change it then. What do you want me to call you?
The project found me, but no. I would say co-owner.
Co-owner. I love this. All right. Well, you're drinking a Corona, and that actually brings up a very interesting point that we had a conversation. As you know, here in the Midlife Crisis channel, we don't like to do just the nicety, bland introductions. We like to give you a little information about our guests that we have on for the night. And we got two things. One, RuneScape. You ever heard of that game? This dude has 16 plus years in it. That is what I would say a hardcore RuneScaper. That's one fact. And then two, and I'll give him a pass on the Corona because I would call it not really a beer. But when you look at the dude via camera, listen, he's a manly man. He's a masculine looking dude. Got a little tattoos going on.
Got the beard.
He's got a beard. I would expect this man to be siphoning down bourbon and whiskey every night. When we asked him what his drink of choice is, he said, the fruity drinks are the ones that I like. So I was not expecting that this man is slamming down buttery nipples and dirty Girl Scouts every night, but he is apparently.
I mean, listen, maybe a Mai Tai, maybe
Mai Tai,
pina coladas,
That's a pina coladas. I mean,
like pina coladas.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I love a good pina colada. They are fantastic. And I love a good mojito, right? Mojitos are delicious. You said, listen, he did say Moscow Mule. Now, those are made with vodka or gin, and they're delicious, but they're still not like taking shots. And I think that was an amazing information, a little tidbit that he shared with us. So with that being said, man, Anthony, welcome to the freaking show. We're about to have a blast. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Super excited that you're here. I will tell you, because I said I'd do this on air, the reason why I hate Corona as a beer snob, little known fact, the sun oxidizes beer. That's why beer is usually in a can or a brown dark bottle, so the sun can't get to beer. Putting beer in a clear bottle is the worst possible thing you can do for beer. And let me tell you, those packs of Coronas are sitting out in the sun a lot more than you think they are. And that is why you're forced to put a lime in Corona to at least be able to put it down your throat, because it is dog piss. So that's my take on Corona. But he's suffering.
Let me give you, though, just to give you another side of that, because Mike is a beer snob. Here's the thing. Listen, remember when sunscreen was a good idea, and now they're like, maybe that actually kills you. Remember when eggs were going to kill you, but then eggs were good for you. And then remember when orange juice cured cancer, and now orange juice causes cancer. So all I'm saying is that Mikey's got a lot of science that he's trying to reference. Just saying.
That's true.
Next thing you know, they're going to be like, you know what the best? Somebody's going to do it. You watch. Some snobby beer company is going to say, we taste and roast our beer in open sunlight with clear bottles. And they're just going to market it good. And somebody like Mike's going to go, whoa, I got to have sun-roasted beer.
No shit.
And that's what's going to happen. So you just remember that. Don't always take it for what it is.
All right. A good point. I will add on to that. One of my favorite parts about the pandemic is I remember growing up, and especially when Grand Theft Auto came out, video games were Satan. They were the devil. But once the pandemic happened, you couldn't hear enough about please play video games and stay inside. Like all of the bad things video games did just didn't exist anymore. But I will say, me being a beer snob, I am drinking a beer, a Hazy J from Helia Brewing Company. Oh shit, this is the wrong camera. I have two cameras. And good old San Diego. So I am actually drinking a good beer, not Corona. I'm just saying. But yes, great introduction. Way to start off the show. Next on the list, Anthony, the one and only world famous midlife crisis question. Give it to us. How did you get to the seat you're sitting in today? Give us Star Wars episode 1, 2, and 3. We cannot wait to hear this story.
Okay. I guess I'll start with moving to the United States when I was 6.
I did
Um,
not know you moved to the United States. Where did you grow up before that?
I was born in Lithuania,
Oh, cool.
in 1993. And yeah, I was fortunate enough for my auntie to be in Miami at the time,
Nice.
and family decided to take the move over here. It was actually quite a journey. They actually contemplated whether they were going to hire a coyote to sneak us across the border in the year 2000, and then they decided not to do that and go about it the right way. So, we got the visas and everything properly, and that costs a lot of money over there. So that was quite the journey. And then got here, I spoke 0 words of English.
Wow.
My mom tried to put me into a school, and the school actually denied me. They're like, yeah, we can't take him. Like, he knows nothing at all. So that was a little tough. So they ended up putting me in like this ESOL program, and I hated school so much because, one, who else speaks Lithuanian? Like, honestly, like everyone spoke like Spanish or
Right.
Russian or
Yeah.
Creole, French. Yeah, nobody spoke. I hated school. I used to run away from class.
Yeah.
In first grade, I used to go to the office, and luckily the lady was nice enough to let me stay in the office and just hang out over there.
Oh my God, dude. Like that's an amazing that she actually did that.
Yeah, no, that was very respectable. The good thing is I did learn English within like 6 months. So that was a very quick learning process, and I think cartoons had a lot to do with it.
How old were you again? You said 6?
6.
6,
Okay.
and then I guess turning into 7. So
Yeah.
first grade.
right.
Cartoon.
And
What
yeah,
cartoon? You got to give me 1 or 2 cartoons that you were.
like, it was like Angry Beavers, Rocket Power,
Nice.
Powerpuff Girls, man.
Powerpuff Girls taught you English.
Laboratory.
I love it. I love it.
All the good stuff from back in the day. Yeah, and then I learned English, and then the other school that actually rejected me wanted me the year after.
Huh.
So I went to
There's
that
a life
school.
lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That happened, and then some unfortunate circumstances happened, and my auntie lost the apartment. She went to a homeless shelter, and we were actually homeless for a while.
Good grief, brother.
Yeah, I think I was 8 at the time, and then we ended up living in a motel, like a studio efficiency, for about 3 years, until my mom finally got her things together and was able to get a decent enough job to actually afford decent rent. Yeah, and then everything went on, and 5th grade I got introduced to RuneScape. And I think that's where like the grind hustle mentality actually got instilled playing RuneScape. Because if anybody's played RuneScape, they know like you have to like skill, you have to trade.
Yeah.
You learn a lot of life lessons from trading and flipping to earn money.
Yeah.
To various other things, and it's very intensive, and I feel like RuneScape is part of the reason why I am where I am today.
Dude, I can't wait to dive deeper on that. One random question. What was your favorite part about RuneScape? Because I know it's super robust and you do a ton of stuff. Was there something you like doing more?
Yes, and it's not a good thing at all. I used to stake, which is pretty much gamble on RuneScape. And you would take your character who's either maxed out or has some skills or skill advantage, and you would pretty much fight the other person for money. And the winner takes all.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
I feel like it ruined the game for me though after a while, because now you don't really view it as RuneScape for RuneScape. You view it as more of a way to make money, because you technically could sell the gold on a third party
yes.
market.
Yes.
And I feel like that takes the genuine like interest and fun out of the game, because now you view everything as real money.
Right. Yeah. And that happened with a lot of those. I mean, I remember we're older than you. We called midlife crisis for a reason. We're both 41. But like when I was in college, there was a game called Asheron's Call, obscure MMO. But this is back in the day when people sold goods on eBay, right? And our one roommate, he didn't go to class, man. He played 15 hours a day, and this son of a bitch was making tens of thousands of dollars selling shit on eBay.
Yeah.
Right. Where is he now?
I don't know, and I'm guessing probably not in a great place. But who knows?
Why would you say
never
that?
know. You never
Why would you say
know.
that?
Because he was.
Or he's launched like 10 NFT projects
Because
already.
this
so.
is why I say that, because I didn't realize like how actually weird it is at the time. But like this dude was, I think he was almost 27, and like we were 19 sophomores. Like he was solidly in the mid 20s, if not upper 20s, and still paying to be in a dorm and not go to school. So it was a very awkward situation. Like he bought us alcohol, which was cool. Fun. Yeah. Okay. So RuneScape, learn life lessons. I love this. This is already an awesome conversation. That's, I'm assuming at this point, you're what, in middle school, high school time?
Oh yeah, middle school, high school.
Okay. So where do we go from there?
Ooh, where do we go from there? Let's see. RuneScape, middle school, high school. High school. Yeah, okay. So a big part of my life would be when I met my best friend. I mean, we were previously acquainted in elementary school, but we didn't really talk. And then freshman year for him, sophomore year for me, also revolves around RuneScape. I was just talking about RuneScape to one of my buddies at school, and then he walked up to me. He's like, "Oh, you play RuneScape too?" And then it's a story from there. One of the guys that we've gone to business together. We've ran several high 6-figure, 7-figure businesses together. He's always pushed me to become a better version of myself. Even today,
Right.
like every single day for over a decade, he has not stopped pushing me to be a better version of myself.
That's awesome, man.
I feel like everybody just, if they have somebody like that, don't take it for granted. Or if you don't, just
Try to find someone,
try
right?
to find someone that will just motivate you every single day in and day out.
Right.
That's really what people need.
Right. Absolutely.
From there, I would say, what was that? Okay, 2013, right after high school.
Mhm.
Right after high school, I got into crypto, actually, 2013. And as most people, how I got introduced to crypto, my friend was buying some stuff on the black market.
Yeah. Yes.
And he's like, "Yeah, look, Bitcoin, and you could do this." And then at the time, I had like this weird wallet on my PC. I don't even remember the name. And at the time, I don't remember what it was worth. Maybe like $100, $120 per Bitcoin.
For Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, per Bitcoin. And he actually showed me how to mine Bitcoin back then. And then he showed me how to mine all these random shit coins, actually.
Can you explain? Because I've always wanted the answer. Back then, what did Bitcoin mining look like and consist of? Like, could you do it with did you have to have like a super crazy powerful computer, or what did it look like?
No, I had an old ass compact that I bought at like at Circuit City.
Are you shitting me?
Pause. He just said he had a compact. Dude, when is the last time you heard that, Mikey?
Does that brand still exist? It can't exist anymore.
I don't know, man.
Compact is when I was playing like Myst on my fucking PC before the
probably
internet
passed
even
up the
exists.
CalPrint gateway to get that one.
The CalPrint gateway. The old gateway. Didn't
fantastic.
Gateway
Dude, I'm so
turn
happy you said
into
that.
Dell? Does Gateway
Yeah, I think
got
it
bought
did.
by Dell?
Yeah, I
So
think it did.
okay, so you had an old ass compact and you could mine Bitcoin. Like, what did that look like? You just run a program?
Oh, yeah. So he sent me this file, and nowadays that would be super sketchy, but back then I'm like, let's run this file.
I don't know.
I'm running this file.
Just a random executable.
Yeah.
Random executable. And then he's like, "Yeah, check the pool." I joined some kind of mining pool, and I'm looking, and like, boom, my coins are growing, like Bitcoin and like this other coin that I had. It wasn't like, for Bitcoin, it wasn't like an extremely substantial amount, but the other coin that I was getting actually was mining very, very fast, and I was converting it. And the way I was converting it, actually, I was just sending it to him, and he was giving me Bitcoin for it. Because back then, for me, exchanges weren't as prevalent. You know, I was
Right.
still young. I didn't realize what I was supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's when I first discovered crypto, and then actually, I was still playing RuneScape, so I was still selling RuneScape gold, and I actually started selling it for crypto. So I was kind of stacking Bitcoin a little bit.
Right.
Here and there.
Ooh.
Look at you. Look at you stacking.
I was stacking some Bitcoin, and then an opportunity presented itself in 2015. And this is a little more of a gray area, I would say.
Yeah.
Nowadays, well, actually, no. Now with the regulations, it's a little more just straightforward. But back then, it was more of a gray area.
Yeah.
And I got into CS:GO gambling.
Okay. I didn't even know this was a thing, bro. So you're gonna have to describe that to me too.
Actually, that was one of the first websites to pop up. It's pretty much iGaming. So Counter-Strike, if you're familiar with the game,
Yeah.
has tradable skins.
Yeah.
And they have monetary value. So what you would do is you would just take the API from the websites that display data on the pricing that they take from all the trades from Steam itself.
Yeah.
And then you would just input it to your website, and that's how you generate the prices. People would be able to put their skins into a pool, and then one person would win based on a random number generator.
Gotcha. So random CS:GO. Were you into that game hardcore or?
CS:GO, yes, I was.
So really, do you know gaming influencer's named Zeus? Zeus. He what? I don't know, man. He was on our show, and he has an NFT where he's launching an esports game with an NFT. Their mint didn't go so great. Gonna try to link back up with him, but apparently he won the CS:GO World Champion multiple times. So
Zeus, I know Zeus. I think he was on Navi, if I'm not mistaken.
He might have been. If you want to meet a cool CS:GO dude, I can link you up in DMs. He's super cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
I still got a couple buddies that are in the semi-pro CS:GO scene, because it's kind of hard to be in the pro scene nowadays. But I still have some
So go ahead.
I would just say probably in like top 100.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, because considering there's like thousands and thousands of teams.
Yeah. I think he played for a lot of the top teams and created multiple teams. So it seems like there's a pattern here. You're figuring out the internet, you're stacking Bitcoin, but you're yet in another game figuring out how to monetize gaming, which is really interesting to me. So did you turn this CS:GO opportunity into a business? What did that look like? And then what was after that?
Me and my buddy actually got screwed over
by
somebody else that I wanted to bring on as well. They kind of took the idea, and without telling us, they kind of started doing it on their own after I got into the process, which was unfortunate, but it is what it is. We were running our website, and everything's going good. The money was okay,
right?
And then we realized, look, I'm like, yo, we could do better. We could do better than this. And somebody that I was selling like my CS:GO skins to, actually, on God, what's that marketplace? Player Auctions. If you know Player Auctions.
I have not heard of it.
No.
Yeah, it's just a marketplace to buy and sell accounts and various other things.
Gotcha.
I was just selling him some of my CS:GO keys and skins, and I found out that he's a developer.
Okay.
And I found out that he was actually looking to launch his own website, but it kind of failed. And I'm like, look, why don't we just work together? I'm like, one, there's no upfront cost for a dev because now he's on the team. There's no like really designer expenses because we knew a designer. And that was that. We're like, look, that's really all it takes. And this was still early on. So we partnered with a few influencers. We did a few other things, and we found out a way to launch a website, and a really, really quality one that was pushing the boundaries at the time. without any really upfront costs.
Okay.
And it was doing very well. I can say that within the first 3 months, we had over 3 million unique people use our website.
Wow. Yeah, that's doing pretty well.
Dang.
And then once again, you know, some drama unfolded. There were some egos thrown around and people, you know, taking things the wrong way and not actually thinking clearly before they acted upon certain things. And unfortunately, I was still young, and you know, my best friend who was in it too was still very young, and we didn't really do everything, I would say, by the book in terms of we're doing it with our friends. So there were no contracts set in place. There were no, you know, guidelines to go by. And what ended up happening was our dev friend actually just ended up pulling the plug. And it really sucked because to build out a platform like this took about 8 months. So it's not just like overnight we can prop something up. You know, we put up coming back soon page because, you know, still own the domain and everything. And we were in the process of rebuilding it. And our dev who was working on it, 3.5 months in, we had contracts this time, by the way, ran away with all the code, ran away with everything. So contracts in place. The problem was I'm in the United States. He's somewhere in Finland. I don't even know if he gave me a real address. I couldn't find him. And you know, that was that. And then boom, 3.5 months gone again. And then, you know, we tried to launch it again, and it was just like very hit after hit after hit after hit. Like things just kept going wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong, left and right. And in hindsight, I should have kept pushing through, because if I did, you know, I'd be in a very different place right now. But you know, 2020 hindsight. Learned a lot of valuable life lessons, not just business lessons. And yeah, I mean, all in all, I did okay with Bitcoin. You know, I had a substantial amount. I actually purchased a car for 90 Bitcoin.
Jeez.
A regular
that
Mercedes
has to hurt a
for
little
90
bit.
Bitcoin, for 90 Bitcoin. And you know, obviously, but you can argue the fact of like, I didn't know Bitcoin was gonna go up. But then again, 6 months later, Bitcoin skyrocketed to like 8K. So you know, it in
my
hindsight, it
gosh.
hurts. My friends used to rank on me. They're like, bro, like, you know, you could have bought 4 Ferraris.
Right.
I'm like, I mean, I could have, but like, who knew at the end of the day?
So real quick, before we go, because the Bitcoin thing is interesting, but since we're on topic, like we usually like to tell your whole story and then we'll start asking questions, but I don't want to miss the moment, right? You really,
we got some things.
You really just gave us a really interesting story about you are starting this business with CSGO. You're starting it with your friends, right? You're not doing it by the book. And then you literally ended that whole, let's say the last 5 minutes with, I learned a lot of life lessons and I'd be in a different place if I did things differently. Please, can you talk to us about that? What were the lessons? What if you kept on pushing through, what would have you done differently?
Okay. The life lessons are more so of, be careful who you trust, even if they're your friends, especially going into business. Friendship and business doesn't always mix, but you know, some people have the saying like you should never go into business with family or friends, and that's not always necessarily true.
Right.
I think you should just pick wisely. And I think now from that experience, I learned to watch out for a lot of red flags in people.
Okay.
Based on their actions, you know, like actions speak louder than words do. So, you know, somebody can keep doing bad things or, you know, not do you right. They can keep apologizing as much as they want, but doesn't mean their actions are going to change.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. Another thing is just have paperwork for everything. Like nowadays, it's just like 100% by the book.
Keeps it
friend,
cleaner.
no
Keeps it
friend,
cleaner.
it doesn't matter,
Right.
IRS, tax code, everything done properly. That way, no one's gonna get screwed in the end. You
Right.
might have some bitter blood, like you bitter taste in your mouth if things don't go right. But at the end of the day, it's what's fair by everybody.
Yes. 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 Because
That
you're in this gray world with friends thinking, because think about the amount of times that's not written down on the paper where I say something and you interpret it slightly differently. And I think we're all good, right? But in reality, we're so far apart, right?
Yeah. And in the midst of all this, actually, like I was saying, it was a gray area, but we were actually going to do everything by the book.
Yeah.
Because things started like coming out and people were like, okay, well, this is a gray area, it needs to be more regulated. So we were actually taking the initiative to like go to
Right.
Costa Rica, go to Malta. We were like exploring all these countries to actually get a license
Right.
to do all of this. And we were like in the middle of it all. We hired lawyers.
Oh yeah.
Like we did everything. I remember like I put a 5K retainer down and everything for like the best lawyers you could
Oof.
possibly find. And then just in the middle of it all, just boom.
Blew up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jeez.
As for the perseverance thing, if I could go back and do it differently, I would not have given up as easily. I mean, it's easy to say that now, and anybody that's done anything, it really does get demotivating after you do something so much and you keep failing and failing and failing and failing and failing. But something I learned from failing so many times, one in life and RuneScape and just business, if you keep pushing through
Right.
from all the lessons you learned
Yeah.
and just add them all up, there is a recipe for success.
Yep.
So it might not be like the first try or the second try or even the fifth try, but you will figure it out as long as you keep going.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Because we've had tons of people on this
Yeah.
show. They say a lot of similar things. I think another, and I just love your thoughts on what my opinion is. I think another byproduct of that too is there's just not a lot of people that like being uncomfortable and feeling pain. So if you do it long enough, you kind of outlast everybody. Like let's use this scenario right now, right? Dude, all of the quote unquote influencers and media people, there's a good majority of them that are gone. But we've, continued to grind. And fortunately, we've positioned ourselves because our content's different than making money. But I think that's another way, right? That's another way that not giving up benefits you. What do you think?
100%. 100%. And speaking on that, like I actually personally know a few NFT crypto influencers that like made amazing content and they made great content and they were pushing it out, and they gave up because either not enough views or not
Right.
enough traction on their
Yeah.
video products, engagement,
Yeah.
and they just gave up.
Yeah.
And like it's sad to see because they actually gave good insight and good feedback and
Right.
good analytics and all of that. And it was just
Yeah, but so some of that though is there are a lot of people who expect to be really good at something instantly, and that's just simply not the way the world works. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, how were you at English when you first started, right? You know what I mean?
Didn't
And it's like,
exist.
and you could have done the same thing. And by the way, there are people who immigrate to any country, by the way,
Yeah.
and they're just like, I don't want to do it. It's too much work to learn a new language. And then
So-
they're stuck, right? And so it's like you have to go through it. It's just part of the process. And I mean, Tyrion Lannister said it well in Game of Thrones when he's like, when you start over, you're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. And that is such a masterful way to say that because it's like
100%.
you're always growing, you're always
Yeah.
building on what you've already learned. And that's a huge, huge advantage over people who have not taken a single step and have learned nothing.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
100% agree. I mean, people get complacent. Like you go a couple miles in, and it's predominantly Hispanic. But the thing is,
Yeah.
a lot of them don't take the time to learn English, and not because they don't care to learn English. It's because everyone in their community speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
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 And if they go to a store, if they go to the gas station, the
They don't have to.
primary language is Spanish.
Right.
I
Yeah.
will go there and they'll speak to me in Spanish.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's because, their surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And perfectly, that's fine. People are comfortable. My fiance is Cuban. And I'm learning Spanish myself.
Yeah.
You probably have to at this point, bro.
But it's the same thing. Like living in a different city here in Miami was like Sunny Isles, which is like predominantly Russian.
Right.
Russian community, they commingle with each other, and they don't have to learn English.
Yep.
And it goes the same, I guess, everywhere.
Yeah, and then honestly, you could take that into, which is another life lesson that it gets repeated multiple times on the show, is people travel in tribes and they do what's comfortable, right? Learning a new language is not comfortable, even when you're in a country where the language that you need to learn is the primary language, right? But if you surround yourself in communities of people, it is comfortable. And just, dude, getting outside your comfort zone, there's just not enough to be said about how great it is to benefit your life, man.
Yeah. So, Mikey, I want to actually go back because, man, this has been good already, and we're not even at the project.
Yeah. By the way, bro,
there was a
you're
lot to
crushing
unpack
it.
here.
You're crushing it. So feel good, because we're having a hell of a conversation.
So I want to go back to your gaming days for this reason. We had guest on the show last show. We had the great conversation about how video games can teach you a lot about life, and we actually talked about the grind of specifically MMORPGs, right? And there are things you learn, and we didn't mention that to you. It had nothing to do with that, and you brought it up. And I just think this is fascinating, Mike, that in literally two shows in a row, this has come up. And I think there's something here, because listen, MMOs and gaming in general get such a bad rap by a lot of the older generation, right? And by the way, Mike and I are part of that generation, right? But we happen to be gamers. And it's like, you said it. You said gaming taught you to grind. And if we're going to talk about a success principle, the ability to stay consistent and work even when it's hard or it's not necessarily like pretty or fun, you know what I mean? Grinding in these games, whether it be for skins, achievements, or you're talking about, grinding for gold or things to gamble with, it's still a grind. You have to get in there. You got to do the dailies. You got to do all these things that you are just required to accumulate digital stuff, right? And it's not necessarily pretty, but it's interesting because the mentality it gives is absolutely a success principle if you want to be successful in business or really anything, right? If you get a job someplace, you're going to have to do some of the unpretty things, but if you do it consistently and you do it well, people will notice, right? And it sets you apart from everybody else, right? You also, but more fascinating than that was, to me, you said it was teaching you essentially economics, trade, sales, right? And here's what's crazy, because if you've had, I think you mentioned that you've had businesses, and so if you know what it's like to hire and fire and things like that, it's amazing how difficult it is to find people with real skills. And I don't mean things that look good on your resume, and I don't mean how to type a resume or how to format things. Listen, if you put that Microsoft Word on your resume, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know, can you speak another language? Do you know how to sell? Do you know how to work with people? Can you set people at ease? You know what I mean? Are you friendly? These are like the customer service type things that people don't tend to get. And economics, I just think it's crazy that you're playing video games and you're learning how economics works within essentially a complete digital landscape, but yet that applies to a real world application.
Right.
And it's very, very interesting to me. And I'll say this last part because my friends are in town and their kids are younger than 5, right? And what's amazing to them is there are apps now that kids are playing, and they're games. Like, they're just like puzzle games that the kids play. And something startled them because all of a sudden their one son read a sign to them, and they'd never taught him how to read. And they were like, wait, when did you learn how to read? And he just picked it up playing these games that are designed for kids. And it's like, my mind is blown by this, because all the way back from a young age of somebody learning how to read, and then an older gamer learning economics, salesmanship, how these principles work, free enterprise. These are like real classes people study in college, and you just picked it up playing a game. And that's fascinating to me, because I just think it's wildly underrated how many life skills you can learn by gaming. And I'm sure there's other things, but man, I just think that that's understated. I just think it's really cool you learned it there. I'd love to hear any insight you have on that, or maybe other things you picked up or learned and have been able to apply in the future.
Yeah, so it was
Or
actually
in the
very
now.
so that I learned early, like in middle school, and before then, RuneScape, if anybody's played, knew that like free trade was still like a thing before they removed free trade, and you would be able to trade people, as you please. You would there used to be a specific world where people traded, I guess, kind of like a bazaar, like a market, and a specific area, and you would see somebody selling arrows for 13 gold, but then you see somebody buying arrows for 15 gold, maybe like 10 steps away, and they don't see the guy selling it. You run and you buy them really quick, and then you make a quick flip.
Yeah.
And it was like those things, or like you go on the forums and you post buying bulk of like a specific rune, and then you buy up a bunch, and then you're standing there in the square and selling them, and it's just like things like that. And then they introduced something called the Grand Exchange, which was very interesting.
Right.
It's like a stock market in a sense, but like an outpost where you could trade items, except now there's analytics and it's more regulated. The thing is, prices would only move by either 5% up or 5% down at any single given, like every 12-hour period of time. So people learned that, okay, well, let me form a clan and market manipulate by buying up all these items. To go, and you're like 13 years old, and you're learning this, and it's insane. It really is. And it's like, but not only economics, and it's funny enough because there were so many other things, and I can't even mention. It's like you learn varieties of fish, you learn like varieties of trees, and it's like you would think these are like useless things to know, but like sometimes they come up in real life situations, and you're like, wow, I'm glad I learned this.
Yeah, and that,
For
dude,
sure.
you missed one of the most important skill sets, and I mean, I know you realize this, but dude, communication, making friends, dude, like the cornerstones of being networking is literally one of the core principles of being successful in this life, and that's what you're doing.
I joined a clan, actually.
Clans.
Like a PKing clan.
Yeah.
Where you just fight other clans and just do that. And I think I was 15 at the time, and there were, I would say, like 50 people in that clan, and people ranging from age 13 to age 50.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, within 2 months' time, I was the general in that clan.
And you learn some life lessons from that, man.
You learn life lessons. You learn how to keep peace. You learn how to, like you said, communication. Communication is one of the more important things. And you learn balance. You know, if there's like people arguing,
I like that.
Around, the works, man. It just MMOs for me. I feel like RuneScape did teach me a lot of lessons, and for that I'm grateful. Although I did lose a lot of time, where it's like maybe if I played a little less, I could have done other things. Growing up, but I still played basketball. I played football. I played soccer.
Sure.
Like, I played every sport. It's just I feel like as I got a little older in my teens, the sports kind of dwindled down. And video games kind of took majority of that time.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But I would push back with this. I mean, Mike and I had a pretty good university experience, but let's just take the average person going to the average university who turns 18, really doesn't know what they want to do, but somebody's telling them declare a major, like you're supposed to know what you're going to do with the rest of your life, right? And they go there and they just kind of like fumble their way through college. They get a degree, maybe it's in, a liberal arts degree or history or something, something that was like at least they could pass, but they still don't really know what they want to do. But yet they have school debt now. They have loans they have to pay off. And I would say, like maybe you lost some time, but not as much time as the average person that blows 4 years on a degree that they're never going to use with skill sets that that are really not going to help them moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, again, just like we said, the ability to be uncomfortable, the ability to sell, the ability to work with people, like those three things, that's how you become a multimillionaire, a billionaire. You know what I mean? And people can say what they want, but why is it that every major billionaire out there doesn't have a college degree? Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking college. I loved college. It was an awesome time. It was an awesome time. And there are certain things you have to have it for, right? You're going to be an attorney. You're going to be an engineer. You're going to be a doctor. Absolutely. But if you're just kind of wandering through life and you really don't know,
yes,
I think there is a case that there are other things that could teach you more valuable skills in terms of how to be successful. That's all I'm saying. And it is interesting to me because if you would have told me 3 months ago video games could have been one of those things, I'm not sure I would have believed it. But it's very interesting how back to back to back, I'm starting to hear more people who are successful entrepreneurs who learned, and I'm not saying they learned everything there, but they started their journey in games and they learned these skills there. And it's just fascinating to me because you're not going to learn it in school, right? Yeah. Who's teaching sales? Nobody. Who's teaching people skills? Nobody,
Right.
So it's just interesting.
Yeah, and I would add to that, dude, but you said it, Anthony. Like looking back and saying, "Oh, I play too much video games." You played sports and you did stuff, because all of this being said, no matter what you're doing, balance is also a huge key, right?
Very true.
If you can balance what you're doing, even if you're playing video games 8 hours a day, if you have balance with getting in shape, eating healthy, still having friends and family outside of your gaming world, you're still doing great things.
Well, I'll add to that, actually. I feel like the best friends I've ever made, I've made online first.
Yeah.
And those are the friends that
said.
stayed true friends for the longest, for me personally.
Yeah.
And, supposedly close friends that I've had over the years from school and everything, those relationships died out. Majority of them. There's very few left.
Yeah.
As for friends that I've made online, I've known people that I still talk to on a daily basis for over a decade.
Yeah.
That I met online. Yeah. Eventually, as we got older, we're like, yo, we've never met in real life. Yo, I'm gonna fly out to Atlanta. Let's link up.
Yeah.
And
why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Took the words right out of my mouth, Mike.
Why? I feel like you develop a better bond with these people. And it's because your bond only gets stronger as you, I guess, meet in person and do things together. But these people, you've never actually met them in real life, and you're able to already form a strong bond. I think when you meet in person, the bond just gets stronger.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I have my own thoughts, and one of my thoughts I immediately went to is there's no preconceived notion in the beginning. I am meeting you purely as a digital handle. Yep. I don't know your age. I don't know your sex at first. I don't know your race. I don't know anything, really. But I do know you fucking love RuneScape and you're in my guild. And that makes me freaking jazzed up, right? Okay. And, we build that friendship based off that similar passion for something. So I don't know. That's where my head went.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense too.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I think yes, I think that might be how it starts, right? You have a similar interest. But I think it's because you can't base it on all of those external factors, you have to base it on internal ones. Are you friendly? Are you nice? Do I like talking to you? Right. And I'm in a game where if I don't like talking to you, bye. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't have to be your friend, which is different when it's a coworker and they're next to you, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you gonna do? You know, be like, you're a freaking jerk on everyone. Then it's just awkward. You don't want to deal with that. So you put up with a lot of stuff in real life that you don't have to do digitally, right? Like you said, it's just a gamer tag. Who cares? You know what I mean? And worst comes to worst, join another clan. Worst comes to worst, log in on another server. It's no big deal. And so because of that, this is my opinion, I think the people you tend to become friends with are because you're actually friends with them, that you enjoy similar things, you enjoy talking to them. And that is why I think it magnifies when you meet them in real life, because the inside connected way more than the outside external factors. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, Matt, what you're saying is just a variation of what I was saying.
Yeah,
All external factors are stripped away. But then again, I think where our whole brand is actually based off of meet online, but in real life, in like human, genuine connection is important.
Of course.
But it goes to prove what you just said, Anthony, which is now you like 100x that friendship when you meet in real life, because it's just magical, right? Like when I'll never, ever, ever forget this moment is when we went to NFT NYC, and two people that are literally chatting right now, we met them for the first time and we bought them beers at NFT NYC. And we hugged them, and it was like holy. And they told us their war stories of listening to our show. Like, that shit was magical, man.
Yeah. But also just fascinating people too. Getting to know like what they do professionally and why they're there local, and like just it was so unreal. I mean, dude, Bonji with the patches and the shirts, and Silos, and he's like telling us stories from the hospital, and it's like, this is incredible. You know what I mean? Like, these are real people. And it's not just a screen name; it's a person, and it really is cool. It's cool to see.
If Maddie would have told me 2 years ago, we would have a diehard fan that was a husband, a father, and a New York firefighter, and he would stay up late night trying to put his earbuds in because he just wants to listen to our show, I would have told you you're crazy. But that's reality, man. It's just crazy how it all comes together. In the internet, that's the very awesome power of it. There's a lot of shitty things it does too. But it's really cool that you experience similar things than we did.
That's cool.
So, amazing conversation. We could talk about your life story forever, but we're gonna have to speed up. I'll let Maddie go, but then we are gonna have to start fast forwarding a little bit, because we are now, believe it or not, Anthony, we've been talking for over an hour at this point.
Okay, real quick, my last gaming thing is this, and I want to hear both of your opinions on this because you're both gamers. You said but gaming stopped being fun for you when it became real money. And so here's what I'm interested in. Mikey and I, and Mikey said this, I agree with it. I believe that one of the big bridges for NFTs in general is going to be the bridge into gaming in terms of like universal adoption, right? I think that's going to be a big step that a lot of people bridge into this, is because of the gaming side of things. However, when you start talking about NFTs, you've monetized it, right? You've now taken it. Is it different to play Call of Duty or whatever it might be when it's just a digital skin and you get an achievement? Or is it different if that achievement that you get is an NFT that you have ownership of that could be monetized and you can make money off of it? Does that change the gaming experience? And is that a potential negative for NFT games? That's my question.
I'll let you go, Anthony.
Okay. I'm on that aspect, I'm gonna say no. The reason why it was less fun for me playing RuneScape when I started selling the gold was because I was kind of gambling it. So it's not necessarily the same thing. You're not like gambling your NFT skins. You're not doing that. For me, that was the only thing I was focused on. I was focused on making the money because I was still young. I think I was like 14, 15 at the time. And for me to make $500 a week at 14, 15, while all my friends made nothing, was like, wow, I'm making money.
Got it.
And
Okay, I see.
it was like the hustle, the grind, and instead of actually enjoying the game, I solely focused on making the money. And yes, like certain times there were like fun things to do where you could make money, but it wasn't the same amount of money as it was when you just like focused on that specific thing.
Okay. All right. Mike, what do you think? Do you think there's going to be a component of like maybe the fun of the game kind of you lose some of the fun of the game because suddenly you can monetize the items in it?
I think it just depends on the game. Like, I mean, that's going to be the big nut to crack, right? Is like projects like Clementine Nightmare that look like an awesome game to play. If they can naturally integrate NFT and paid mechanics into it, but still be fun to play, then I don't think it's going to have a big impact. But if you're just playing a game to monetize it, that's where it loses its luster, right?
I think so.
And I think that's where I think we're far away from, like, actually, I don't think we're far away from it. I think next year that will exist. I think it does not exist right now.
Y'all think that's going to be a major, like, I think that's going to be a game changer. I'm curious what y'all think. I mean, look at what WoW did to like the world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. Us as gamers, we knew other MMORPGs, but like CNN was doing articles on how impactful WoW was on like people losing their jobs and parents neglecting their kids because they were, you know, running rune trial runs. But like, imagine if they could have, and that was what they were doing, and WoW cost you money to play. What do you think a WoW would do if you could make $40,000 a year playing it?
Yeah.
Right? Think about that. Like that to me, that could be a true, the playing field has been shook. You know what I mean? What do you all think?
Before we move on, I do have two things to add. I feel like NFTs are kind of were already launched in a sense, like with like, let's say Counter-Strike skins or like Dota 2 skins. Those things were already there. They just were not on the blockchain. I mean, they're on a Steam marketplace. So it's not really like a new concept coming in. For a lot of people, it's the same exact thing because there are rare looking skins on CS:GO that collectors bought. There were a lot of Chinese investors and collectors that bought skins for X amount. They have inventories worth millions of dollars. This is not like pennies we're talking about.
Yeah.
They would buy like this knife because it was all blue and maybe there's one in the world, and they would pay $250,000 for it because nobody else had it, and it was, you know, the holy grail of that skin. So that is that. And then on the monetization of the game, one quick fact to speak about RuneScape really quickly. Venezuela, as you know, like the hyperinflation in the economy that happened.
Yeah.
They were making, I would say, $10 a month for a lot of professions. Like some doctors are making like $15 a month. Families realized that they could make more money playing RuneScape. So they set up operations.
Wow.
Families, like the mom playing, the dad playing, like the kids, the grandma. They had the grandma playing.
Wow.
And they would all play RuneScape because they could make 30 times in a month than they would make on a regular salary.
Yeah, but that's beautiful, man. I mean, that's amazing that even exists for people. And I mean, that's what the global economy used the right way is interesting, right? It's an equalizer for people that might not have had opportunities to do that. I mean, I say it all the time, and we do. And Maddie's question is great, but like we are not too far away from exactly that. Full households making a living playing games. There will be minimum wage jobs to play games and grind stuff. I already told Maddie, I was like, and this is happening, it's now, right? Because we're in a different situation than most people in NFTs. Yeah. You or the people that we talk to on the show, you are Prime Planet. That is your world, and you are engrossed in it. We talk to a new Prime Planet 3 times a week. We have so many NFTs. I am in so many different Discords. I literally need to pay somebody a full-time salary to reap the benefits of the NFTs I own. I cannot physically handle it all. And like that is a reality now for me, and will just get more and more in the future. And that is just a mind-blowing concept, right?
Yeah.
So fascinating conversation. This is incredible. I want to talk. We're just gonna have to come back on the show. That's the reality of the situation. But
move us forward, Mikey.
I
Move us
do
forward.
want to fast forward. We got about 50 minutes left, and we got so much to cover still. So I do want to hear a condensed version of. You're now CS:GO. You've created companies. You've learned a lot of life lessons working with friends. How do you really get into this hardcore NFT space? And then I am very interested, and I think people in the chat are interested, your perspective of, because I was like I told you when we talked before, I got kind of my big break as a hate beast mod. I vividly remember going into Primate Planet, going like, what the hell is this all about? You know, they said all the right things. The hype was insane. It was that just the craziness time, right? And to go from there, and then I think I even said this to you and Too Deep too. I was like, you know, Too Deep's just such a nice guy, but that son of a bitch is still rocking a Primate Planet PFP. I'm like, bro, that is like a straight up soft rug. Like this is. I'm just too nice to break it to the dude. Like he just really loves his PFP. But sure enough, the joke's on me, right? Like you're here and this thing's growing. So take us, you know, two-part, getting into the NFTs and then that evolution of being part of the group and seeing that hype to where you are now.
Okay, so let's skip, I guess, Star Wars. You know,
episode 2 and get us to like hardcore into
get us
NFTs.
to Rogue One. We need Rogue One.
Yeah, get us to Rogue One.
So initially, how I even firstly, if you could even consider this NFTs, was CryptoKitties back in like 2017, 2018. I think it was the year, and to me, it was absurd paying gas to be able to do anything. I'm like, I'm paying. And Ethereum was like $20 at the time. I'm like, yo, I'm paying so much Ethereum to even be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing this? My friend's like, yo, just breed the cats. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it. And, you know, unfortunately, I can't find that wallet anymore. So all my Genesis cats that I have are just, you know, up in thin air. But that's how I first kind of got introduced to the concept.
Right.
And then in 2020, actually, late 2020, one of my ex-business partners and one of my best friends, he calls me up. He's like, bro, like NFTs are going to be the next big thing. And this was like October 2020. This is like way before Bored Ape Yacht Club, way before everything. And he's like, yo, watch out for this. And in my head, I'm like, yo, there's like pictures of pixels. I'm like, why am I going to spend money on this? I'm like, I have art on my walls. You know, like I would rather buy physical art.
Said the same thing to Mikey. I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, fast forward like 8 months, you know, midsummer. I'm like, okay, well, we revisit the topic again. He's like, he's in the space, he's building something out, a product. And then I'm like, okay, well, I see, Bored Ape Yacht Club, this looks cool, you know, people are starting to, you know, picks up traction, people are starting to talk about it, and I still don't buy in. You know, I still have my doubts. I'm like, okay, well, why would I do this? And then come August, I believe it was late August, if I'm correct, the first NFT project I bought into was Goons of Baleltroon.
Never heard of it.
They're still building, which is sick. They're building a game like a P2E game, like a Hearthstone almost.
Okay.
The guys are really cool behind it. But yeah, that was the first project I ever bought in. And I bought a goon at like, I bought a couple of them at like 0.15 ETH, I remember.
Okay.
And then a couple days later, like hype started to build up and it skyrocketed to like 0.9.
Ooh. And
then I remember I'm like, I think I had 3 or 4, maybe more at the time. I don't remember exactly. I sold some. I profited like 2-3 ETH. And then I kept 1. And then a couple days later, it tanked back to like 0.25, 0.30. And I'm like, yo, I'm so glad. Like, I bought this super cheap. I made some profit, and actually that's how I got started into NFTs. And then everybody was doing like the whitelist meta, you know, like
Yep.
Yeah.
chat in the chat, or
Discord
like
invites.
refer like 50 friends to get a
Yes.
whitelist spot.
Yeah.
And then every project was mooning. Like
Yeah.
every project was just going insane.
It was a wild time, dude. It was a wild time.
And funny enough, actually, I messaged Digimental on Dribble to actually, I was gonna hire him for a project.
That's
Myself.
crazy.
What?
And yeah, I found him. I'm like, yo, this looks sick. Like, I want to build something. I hit up Digimental, and funny enough, this was in like September.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm working on a project. It should be done in like 3-4 weeks. In September, they didn't launch till like December or something. I remember it was like this man was working on it a long time.
Dude, but he tried. He was You know what he was working on? That trailer, bro. It took him months to make that trailer.
Yeah, so the man was super busy. I couldn't get him.
All right. I bet. How crazy is that you reached out? How did you even find Digimental? Like, how did you know about him?
Dribble. I used to hire freelancers for design off Dribble all the time.
And you had just come across his profile?
I came across his profile. I'm like, yo, this looks dope. I'm like, you know what? This probably be the right person for the job.
Right.
And he was busy.
Crazy, man. That full circle. Now you're talking to the same guy that DM'd Digimental in his own server and said, I need to be the mod for you. And he was like, go for it, bro. And now we're here. Yeah. It comes full circle.
Yeah. And then, I was doing the whole whitelist thing and, making some money off of that just on the side. I had one of my friends kind of just like tell me all the projects that were hot. And then when he would tell me what projects were hot, I would just, buy them in. Figure it out. Have my little brother like chat in the chat for a little while, and then like get him some of the profits.
I love it. Outsourcing your brother for chatting.
I can't spend all day chatting in Discord. I have things to do.
Right.
But he was making some money, so that was good. And then I made a big mistake. I remember Azuki was minting.
Oh.
And I clicked mint on like 5 Azukis, and I'm in a voice call with 2 of my friends, and both of them sped up the gas and didn't say a thing. I'm like, should I speed up? And nobody says anything. I did not expect them to sell out that fast. It literally just, it went boom, all gone. I didn't get any Azukis. I was devastated. I was devastated for weeks.
I'm still mad about Azuki. It's actually a bitter point for me.
And yeah, I got into a lot of projects. I think in like November, I got into Bored Ape Yacht Club. I bought a mutant ape and a kennel. I was gonna buy an actual Bored Ape, but I'm like, you know what? Rather diversify a little bit into other things.
Yeah.
So just stuck with the mutant. Technically, the utility for Bored Ape Yacht Club is a community within, and I made a lot of good friends within the community as well. So that's the value point for me.
Yes, absolutely.
And even local friends, like I host like some party or like a brunch or something, just the boys getting together, and it's just a bunch of apes, and I met a lot of quality people.
All through NFTs.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Okay, so you're going through the craze hype. This is September, October, November. When does Primate Planet? I think that's like November time frame.
No, so December 27th they minted. So I didn't get a whitelist for it.
Okay.
I like my little brother tried.
Were you grinding hard?
Well, I think my little brother was.
Your little brother was grinding hard, right?
I think that's what he told me. I could be lying, but so my friend actually minted too, and the apes like flew up in price. He sold them for like 5 ETH. Good profit. I'm like, damn, I missed out. And then come January, he's like, bro, like they're announcing like this thing where apes are gonna get bananas and you're gonna get like these infected apes. And like apes tanked. They were like at a lower point by then already. And I'm like, maybe I'll buy. And then when I bought, I think it was 1.7. and then they decided not to do the bananas and do the Kongs instead. So they're like, okay, well, you'll get a whitelist for Kongs if you have apes, and then if you have 2 apes, you get Kongs. So what do? I bought another ape.
Maddie,
soon as the
hold on real
happened,
quick. Maddie,
Yeah.
I think your mic is close to your mouth. I hear heavy breathing.
You're welcome. Little ASMR for
Here you
y'all.
are, yeah.
We're
Do you want
thinking
me to
about
whisper everything. I could talk like this for the rest of the show.
part of our team has us convinced that Matt needs to start doing ASMR on our TikTok channel. And so I think he was just practicing.
Man.
That's all he was doing.
Sorry.
That's all good, dude. All right,
They added subscriptions on Instagram. Do it.
so you need to. Bananas are gone. Kongs are coming out. Are you?
Yeah.
You're still 100% bought in. You're not. At this point, you don't think anything's fishy. You're like, dude, I need another freaking ape because I want a Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I bought another one, and then I'm into 2 Kongs.
Okay.
I sold the Kongs at I think 1.3, 1.2, so it was okay.
Yeah.
But the apes plummeted. So whatever I paid for the apes, I lost regardless because it got priced in.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, bananas are still coming out, and I remember apes dropped to from 2.7 to 1.4. Okay, I'll pick another one. And then it dropped to 1.3. I'm like, okay, I'll pick up another one.
Oh.
And then another one.
Oh.
Next thing you know, I'm 30, 40 ETH deep.
No, don't tell me
30,
this.
40 ETH deep.
No,
And
don't tell me this. Oh.
And then an article comes out, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the article.
No, I did not.
They accused the former team of being someone, and then
of a serial rugger or soft rugger.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of people were defending their maybe being naive or whatever it was,
Right.
and not everything in there was factual.
Right.
Nobody really had solid proof what it was. So people kind of brushed it because, the team started appearing a little bit more. They started having some presence, and they're like, look, we're gonna be doing this, and they showed some sneak peeks for Infected, and then they're we're gonna be working on an ecosystem and a game and this and that. So it's okay, well, you're bought in. What happened then was there was quite a bit of, I would say, a bit of turmoil within the community because it was kind of on the fence, 50-50. You're either on one side, you think they're rugging, or you don't think they're rugging.
Right.
And it kind of people were not intentionally, but pinned up against each other. Either
I mean, that's what happens naturally, right? You have this divisiveness between
you gotta protect your back. If you're heavily invested, you have to protect them. But so the team then decided they would hire community managers to run the show, I guess, be informed with the community, help them make decisions, kind of like a consultant.
Okay.
And me, Doc, and Lad, which are the other current co-owners of the project,
right,
we got elected and chosen to be community managers.
So but at this point, you're pretty engaged with the community. You're going in on a daily basis.
Yeah. I'm in Discord all day, every day.
Well, you got 40 ETH into it. I'm sure you're kind of invested at this point.
And I'm talking in voice chats with everybody. We're discussing things.
Right.
So they hired us as community managers. We got brought into a private DM with one of the founders, who was, I guess, one of the decision makers on the project. And we actually spoke on voice chat with him, which was very rare because none of the founders really wanted to, I guess, reveal themselves.
Right.
We still don't know his name. We don't know who he is really.
Right.
But we were talking to him, and we were giving him critical feedback and things that he needed to do to move forward. We presented them with plans. We set up like partnership deals. We set up like a lot of things for them to just follow, just follow the steps.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine.
Right.
And it was like there was a lot of pushback. And
Interesting.
it was pushback of like, yeah, we have to have a meeting with the rest of the team, and then like the meeting gets postponed, and then like we keep asking about certain things, and they just kept getting swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it, it never got done. It never
Interesting.
got done.
And how long was this kind of back and forth? Are we talking weeks, months?
So depending for what though, like
Just like
specific
once you
things,
get
or-
hired as a community mod, I'm assuming sooner than later you talk to on a voice channel, and now you laying out this roadmap for them. How
Yeah.
long did this kind of like back and forth go?
jumped in like right away.
Right.
Like we went to work. Like
Right.
we worked hard, the three of us, like day in and day out. We dedicated a lot of our time to this.
Yeah.
And with like very minimal pay. Like the pay was like nothing.
Right.
Like nothing at all.
Compared to what they had just made, I'm sure.
I mean, okay, in retrospect, it wouldn't even pay a third of my rent.
Right. Right.
So it was absolutely nothing. Like I was just devoting my time because one, I had made a lot of friends within the community.
Yeah.
And I genuinely cared for the community.
Yeah.
And also I'm invested in as well. So I am the community.
Right. Right.
So, every day we're pushing for them to like do better, do these things. Lad, actually, just NFT Lad, he planned out this whole marketing thing. 30 days of marketing. He contacted YouTubers, he contacted influencers, he contacted platforms, he contacted businesses, and we had everything set up and lined up. And then when it's let when they said they would give us $150,000 marketing budget.
Right.
To actually like push this for the community managers to have a budget for marketing.
Right.
Dang.
We got to use, I think it was $29,000 of it.
Right.
And I think 7,000 or 8,000 of those went to like Rarity Sniper to get us relisted back on the platform.
Which, by the way, is the shittiest website out there. That they're just a freaking hunk of shit. Sorry.
So, we spent majority of the money on that and like getting relisted and like doing the basics that we didn't actually get to do our marketing plan. And then they just pulled the marketing. They're like, yeah, look, we can't really spend any more money on marketing. And we're like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, we just can't. We have to like, fund the liquidity pool for the staking and stuff.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this. They said they were working on the staking platform for a very long time. After we took over the project, it came to light that they launched this platform within like 10 days. They rushed it completely. Like that's why it was an absolute shit show.
Gotcha.
They did everything last minute. Like they would say they were working on all these things, they're doing all these things, but in reality, they were probably out partying.
Right.
Or, whatever else they were doing.
Yeah.
And nothing was getting done.
Right. Right.
And so I think we were doing this for about 3 months.
And so what are we in the beginning of 2020 at this point?
So like no, this was like, let's say April. We became like, let's say April 1st, or April 2nd, whatever. We became community managers.
Okay.
And then, fast forward, staking launched, all these things launched. July comes, and they hit us up. Well, one of the founders hit us up, and they're like, "Look, it sucks. This team, we can't come to conclusions as a team. It's hard to move forward working. We are contemplating to let this project go." And we're like, huh. Well, we're like, we can, we can run the project. And then, we started like negotiating with them and kind of like deals, right? And there was a lot of pushback on that too.
Right.
And at that moment, they disappeared for 2 weeks. no reply from anybody
Ooh,
on any messages. Like 2 weeks just gone.
that
Like
that's a red
they were
flag.
they were supposed to be like launching and updating the ecosystem, the marketplace. They were
Mhm.
supposed to be like redoing a lot of things,
Right.
and just no reply for anything at all. At that point, we're like, yo, this is insane. Like, we've really had enough. Like, the community is getting shafted.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're watching it happen.
Right.
Like, we tried to work around it. We tried to do our best. And it got to a point where, like, yo, we can't do this. Like, this is, like, not doable.
Right.
We called them out in public.
How'd you do that?
I mean, we were community managers, so we have, like, the right to, like, tag everyone.
Oh, so you just at everybody
went
and
in
said, "This is the
Discord
deal."
And just, like, this is the deal where, like, the founders are not
Hell.
transparent.
Good for you,
founders-
dude. Good
The
for
founders do
you.
this. And it was like, we're getting paid a little bit. That's not it's not gonna help me sleep at night.
Right,
like
right.
watching my friends getting shafted
Yeah.
and me having
Yeah.
to, like, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
cover for them, but, like, try to calm the community down while we figure out what's going on.
Right. Right.
And it was like, yo, I can't do this. Like, this is like,
Yeah.
we all came to the conclusion. We're like, yo, screw this. We're going to call them out. It is what it is. Whatever happens, happens.
You did the right
But-
thing, though, man. Doing the right
We're like,
things.
nobody deserves this.
Right.
So we got a reply within 24 hours.
And what did
We
they?
told them, we're like, all three of us will walk away. We're
Yeah.
like, we're done. We're
Yeah.
completely done. And
Yeah.
I'm not the only big investor. NFT Lad also invested like 30, 40 ETH as well. So, like, we were holding quite a few.
Right.
And we got a reply within 24 hours, and I guess negotiations started.
Right.
That took forever as well. That
Yeah.
honestly took, it was dreadful. They put it to a community vote first, actually.
Uh-huh.
And we won the community vote by a landslide.
Yeah.
They're like, community managers take over and run the project 100%.
Uh-huh.
We sell the project to like a third party, like a company that
Yeah.
will, take over and do whatever.
Yeah.
Or I forgot the other option, but or like the team gets rid of a few people and continues to function, and we're like, yo, there's no function in that. Like, that's not gonna happen. Like, this is terrible. So
Yeah.
we got 80% of the vote.
Wow. Wow.
Which, is decent. Like, other people voted for stuff like another company taking over, something like that. But we're like, yo, it could just be their cousins, for all we know. Like,
Right.
there's
Right.
There's no. Yeah. So after that, I guess the transfer of assets also took about a month to even, like, be able to do anything. Like, they gave us one thing and then they would go missing again for like 3-4 days. They would give us one thing and they'd go missing again for 3-4 days. And, like,
Is this
we
all
had
through Discord, or are you having VCs at this point?
Discord.
Wow.
So the thing is, like, so our artists, we kept the artists, and the artists themselves wanted us to be the owners of the project, because we've spoken to them multiple times. We told them our visions and the plans for the project, and
Yeah.
they love the idea and all the ideas we had and how we worked as a team, because working together for 3 months as community managers, like, we bonded very well. Like,
Yeah.
our chemistry is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've known these guys forever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like that. And so, yeah, everything's been, I would say, August 1st or August 2nd, something like that. That's when we got, like, 100% complete control and ownership of everything.
And throughout this whole time, like, I'm assuming in the back of your head, you're like, these guys are just totally gonna fuck us and not send us the shit.
Yeah. No, so, like, obviously there's that worry of, like, there were some worries with, like, the smart contracts where, like, we couldn't transfer them, or, like,
Right.
stuff like that. And we're like, yo, like, we cannot run it like this. Like, we have to figure it out. So we hired some devs. I consulted with friends who run, like, Web3 companies.
Right.
He has like 10 devs. I'm like, yo, have your devs look at this. Like, what can we do? So we had a lot of help. from friends and third parties,
Yeah.
and that were willing to help. And happy to say that everything went well in the end. So we got 120% complete control over everything. They did leave us some funds for the project. It wasn't a lot. Um, it was 100 ETH.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think ETH was like 1,200, something like that. We converted some to USDT, kept a little bit in ETH. We started a whole rebrand. Actually, we started the rebrand before everything was even finalized.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, we don't really have time to like
Right.
wait. I'm like, this shit's been dragging on for 8 months now
Yeah.
of them
Yeah.
like not doing anything. I'm like, every day, every minute really counts. And a rebrand and like a revamp of a website, like something quality, like that takes time.
Sure.
So we're like,
Yeah.
let's get it rolling. Let's start figuring out partnerships. Let's start figuring out like a roadmap. Let's start figuring out revenue streams. Let's start figuring like everything out
Yeah.
from scratch.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
now this is our baby.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Yeah.
we have to be right by the community. So this is something we need to figure out.
Yeah, and look at this, man. It all comes full circle. You were close to quitting, but you didn't. And you saw it through, and now you got an NFT project. I'm sure you didn't think that'd be happening 9 months ago.
No, I didn't. Not to the scale of this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So now, thank you, by the way, for being insanely candid and transparent. I'm still, the unfortunate part of this reality is you don't really know who these guys are. I mean, I'm safe to say I'm assuming these guys were corporate investor guys that were trying to see the advantage of the market. Who knows what they were, but unfortunately you can't dox them, and they could do the same shit again. There's a lot of people like that in this space, which is unfortunate. But the good news is project is strong because you got people that care about it. Let's go to, we've got about 10 minutes before we got to start wrapping it up. So I really want to take this next 10 minutes. Let's talk about where you're at today.
Yeah.
What can we expect over the next 6 months? And then I always love to close it off with like, you got 2-3 minutes to give your elevator pitch of everyone that's watching and that will watch this video because it'll go up on our YouTube immediately. Why spend their hard-earned money with Primate Planet? So let's go through the 6 months and then we'll do the pitch.
Okay. 6 months. So rebrand is underway. It's about to be completed, the website, I think, hopefully within the next week. We're just finalizing content. After that, we are actually working on a proto. Actually, well, I'm. It's kind of like a sales pitch, I guess, because I'm giving you all the info. But we're working with a 3D collectible models company, one of the larger ones, XM Studios. We're actually working on a prototype for the dragons that are coming out. And that's going to be one of the monetizations for the holders.
Which, by the way, that dragon artwork is fire.
Thank you. Props to the artist. That's Curtis's like main thing. Like they do dragons. That's their favorite thing to do.
Nice.
So we're working with XM Studios. So we started on a prototype. It should be done hopefully before the mint even begins.
That's
so
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
And they have a really big reach in the Asia markets.
Okay.
And I think that is a big key factor when you're talking about dragons.
Yep.
Very sacred in Asian culture.
Yep.
And having a big market share there would definitely help. That's, the dragons, and that's the, I guess, short-term plan for dragons. We are always exploring other options. We have a very, I guess, a big event coming up at the end of the year, courtesy of our other co-owner who has been in experiential events for over a decade.
Nice.
And he managed to get us into one of the largest Christmas and New Year's Eve events in Singapore.
Damn, I don't know if I can make it to Singapore, but I would love to party with you in New Year's.
So it's not necessarily our party, but Prime Planet will be showcased in some form. I'm not gonna say what yet. Like, but we will be showcased to an event that usually has about 2 to 3 million people visit yearly.
Okay. So I'm hearing so far new artwork, monetization through figurines, which is interesting. We got some events. What else do we got going?
The event is actually monetized too.
Oh, okay.
We do get I can't say, but we do get X% revenue of ticket sales.
Okay. And that is because you're bringing kind of your brand and presence to it?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And like I said, all courtesy to Lad. You know, he's the one that set this all up.
Okay.
And then Kongs, we have, you know, it's up for debate. We're looking and we're speaking to a couple game studios to reskin a game.
Yeah.
Rather than build out a brand new one, because not even a AAA studio these days can pull off a good game.
Yeah.
So we've been focusing on just, you know, contacting a few of these and see if they'd be interested to incorporate Prime Planet within their games.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And figure out a monetization on that front.
Yep.
We've been exploring a couple of other options as well. We have a Lambo giveaway coming up, actually.
When Lambo, this is a real Lambo. This isn't the shitty ploy back in August when I got in, which was like everyone was like, "We're giving away a Lamborghini." I'm like, "This project has to be legit."
This is the real deal. So after Dragon Mint, holders of X amount of NFTs will be entered to get a raffle ticket. So you have to hold 2 apes, 2 Kongs, 2 dragons, and 4 infected, which is a very, very small number of people. If you really think about it, I think maybe there will be 500 raffle tickets total. So you have 1 in 500 chance of winning a Lambo.
That's not a bad ratio.
It's not. And like for our, you know, loyal holders and, you know, people coming into the project, we thought it would just be an interesting thing to devote a fraction of the mint back into something like that, because I don't think any project legitimately has ever given away a Lambo. And it's very symbolic in the crypto NFT space.
It is very symbolic. There are some people saying they might want Teslas instead.
Well, you know, there's an option to choose Ethereum cash price instead.
That would be pretty nice. How much is a Lambo and Ethereum at this point? I don't even know.
Today?
We didn't do we're not doing like a brand new 2022 Lambo.
Okay.
It's not a shit Lambo either.
It's
I think
still
it's
a lot of
Ethereum.
Ethereum.
We priced it at
Okay.
150K. So roughly around like 100 Ethereum.
100 Ethereum, still a legit bag, man. A legit bag. And you could spend that in many other ways to make more money in the future as well. So a couple questions as you're going through this before we kind of wrap it up to the end. What you just described, is that considered Roadmap 2.0? Or is there definitive points within Roadmap 2.0 that you want to go over? Because there are people that are invested in your community asking these questions.
Yeah. So right now, the definitive, I guess, Roadmap 2.0 would be focusing on events.
Okay.
Focusing on the monetization of the figurines, pushing that out. Figuring out if a game reskinning actually makes sense revenue-wise.
Okay.
And if not, figuring out a different revenue stream. We have a couple other ideas that we're throwing around. You know, certain things I can't talk about.
Yeah.
But you know, this is like our ultimate goal is to have a different revenue stream or streams for each collection. So it's not just like one thing that's gonna bring money back to the holders, to the project, and you know, help the project revive itself. It's more of like a collective effort.
Yeah, gotcha. And so the last kind of question is, so you have, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got some mutants, you've got the regular primates, and you've got Kongs. Those are the artwork that exists right now, right?
Correct.
Are there benefits for holders of all three? Are there benefits for just ape and Kong holders? What does that look like?
So that's something we're gonna do. So right now, the benefit of prime apes themselves, we added in a alpha chat and some statistics and analytics.
Yeah.
And it would just be like market news, Web3 news, what's minting like right now, free mints that are going on this very moment, specific sweeps of specific projects. And we're in the process of actually hiring someone to actually give market analysis, not only on NFTs. So somebody that can come in and, give people investment guidance.
Gotcha. I like it. And so how about with, I own an ape and a Kong.
Yeah. So for Kongs, we actually are going to be running this for the time being, of course. We're running this thing that if you own a Kong, you're automatically entered to a raffle to get 2 tickets to Universal Studios. And if you take a picture at the Kong ride within Universal Studios, you actually get another free Kong.
Oh, I like this.
This is just like, one little thing. I wouldn't really consider it like utility.
Right.
We also have our staking platform where we restock it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's with merch, and the merch right now, if people that came in and like staked when staking first launched,
yeah,
the previous team never updated the marketplace. So there was 0. So people were just accumulating tokens.
Interesting.
So we dedicated X amount of money to add NFTs and raffle tickets for
Nice.
NFT merch that's completely complimentary for the time being. A lot of things, stuff like that. So you would be earning like Prime token for all the NFTs you own as well.
Mm-hmm.
The whole ecosystem is getting an overhaul. Like we're actually in the process of like rebuilding it from scratch. And it's going to be right now because you have to pay gas to like stake, unstake, claim tokens, and do all this. Like it's going to be gasless.
Nice.
Because the company bridges ETH to Polygon.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fully taking on the gas that there is.
Nice.
That's going to be a nice little thing. I don't have an estimated finish date, but they started it, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So that's question. What if they just go to Universal and get a picture by the Kong ride? Do they have to win the raffle for that?
Yeah, they have to win the raffle.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm gonna say,
and you're like gonna
little marketing opportunity. Just saying, free marketing material.
I am very close to Universal. I might have some friends that work at Universal. We need to do a Kong Primate Planet collaboration. That's all I'm saying. So I'll work on that.
We can do a little midlife Kong. We got it.
I promise you, if I did not have a hard stop at 8, this would have been a 3-hour conversation. If you can imagine, now you got the vibe for our show. But I do have a hard stop, and it deals with family and my wife, so I cannot be late. So this is how I kind of want to round it out. 2 minute. Hit us with your final pitch. Why, as me, that, I am acutely aware of what happened with the project because I was a part of the craze. I'm coming in the NFT space. I've got some ETH, and I love your artwork, but why am I spending my money?
I don't think I'll need 2 minutes, but when I invest into projects, I don't invest into the project itself. I invest into the team.
Yeah.
And I feel that we have a very strong team behind this project. We have decades of experience from Josh, Dr. JTB, that's worked in sales. He's worked with multi-million-dollar corporations, and he's currently working at Fox at Blockchain Labs. And Lad, who has over a decade of experiential event and sales and marketing experience, and myself, who I would say close to a decade of like business relations
Yeah.
and blockchain experience to actually, propel this project forward.
I love it. I think that's a fantastic
We're
answer.
not stopping.
Layer on top of the fire ass artwork. I really do think the artwork is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah. And so to round it out, we lied. We actually have 2 more questions. They're very easy. First question, do you have any questions for us? Because we just peppered you with questions for 2 hours. And the second question I will ask after. And if you don't have any questions, it's totally fine. We can move on. A lot of people get thrown off because they think they have to think of a question on the spot. If you don't have any, you got our Discord names. We can continue our chat.
Yeah, I have one for Maddie, actually.
All right.
When did you get into NFTs?
I followed Mikey. We were gaming, and Mikey he had won. So the quick version is this: Mikey was talking about NFTs for a while, and there were several NFTs. He's like, "Man, I think we should do this." And I remember asking him, "Well, how much would it be? How much would I have to get in?" And he's like, "Maybe $150, $300." And I, for whatever reason, was just like, "No, I'm not trying to lose $300 on another one of Mike's crazy ideas." And of course, every one of one of them was VFriends. One of them was shoot, I don't remember the other one. And I was like, man, and so I just
VFriends still kills me to this day.
Yeah.
All of my boys, I'm like, bro, we need to, because I was like, I'm not going to spend $1,500
don't even
on this
start.
shit.
You've had 1,500 ideas in the last 30 years.
Little
so
thing you'll know about myself, I have a new idea a day, so they were just jaded by me at that point.
But here's what happened. He won an art contest, had a cool cat, showed me what it was worth, and I was like, we need to talk about NFTs. And so that's the short version is 100% followed Mike into it. I had no idea what NFT was, probably couldn't even spell it. So
yeah.
Okay. If friend jumps off a bridge, I guess you follow.
Dude, we've
that's
known
what you
each
do
other.
with friends you've known for 30 years.
We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, so the final question is, I'm assuming you've either been a part of or have already started to do a lot of AMAs, kind of rebranding. How do you think this experience was compared to other AMAs you've been a part of or experienced?
I like this much better. I feel like this is way more casual. This is more going off topic on certain things, and I guess just creative expression in a sense, and then just shooting the shit back and forth. And that's what I like. I feel like coming in with an agenda is nice, especially like, let's say you're addressing your community and it's a little more structured.
Yeah.
But when you're jumping into, let's say, just an AMA with a whole bunch of different people, I feel like it should just be open game.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And actually, like, we haven't heard that feedback yet, which is it's some creative expression. I actually like that twist. But we appreciate it, man. I mean, I think I told you this on them, and believe it or not, like, that has been literally everybody that has been on the show has given us that really awesome feedback. And we think we're doing it different, and we're so glad that you are now part of the MLC family.
Alumni.
You are alumni, and we have thoughts about how to treat the alumni in the future as well. And like I said, I don't say it publicly. We just started our friendship with a 2-hour conversation on the internet, and we're gonna grow together, man. Cheers. Unfortunately, my tasty hazy IPA is gone, but it was delicious. And we just appreciate your time, man. We know how freaking busy you are. Maddie, I'll let you say your final words, and then I'll say my final words, and we'll call it a freaking night.
Sure, man. Yeah, but this has been a great conversation. And like I said at the very beginning, I knew this was going to be a fun conversation before we even started. Just us riffing back and forth, just getting to know each other. I was like, all right, we're gonna be able to vibe out well here. And just from the talk from Coronas, beers, but then getting into games, here's really what it is. We can relate very well to you because that's how we are, right? We were gamers. We love it. We moved into the business world. We fell in love with NFTs. We fell in love with Web3. And you took a similar journey before we did, but you took a similar journey, and you're thriving. And what I really love is that you took something that is really difficult to talk about in this space. People do not like talking about projects that have had blips on the radar, right? And there's so much, people are not very forgiving in this space. And to see what you guys are doing and to see the community that you cultivated and to see that that community voted 80%, hey, we want these people to take over this and have belief in you to be able to do that, that says a lot. I know you were saying your team is one of the things to believe in, but man, your community is something to believe in, right? They voted
Oh,
for you and
100%.
they gave you a vote of confidence. And I know you already know that, but what that speaks to Mike and I is that you guys are doing something right. Because it's easy to get 3-4 people to follow you. It's hard to get a whole community to follow you. And 8 months in this time frame, I mean, that's unheard of, right? And
Yeah.
so you're doing something, man, and it's really going to be cool to see what it turns into. And I can't wait to see where it develops, man. We'll keep in touch. We'll keep the friendship going, and we'll hug it out at NFT Miami.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
Miami, so
Hell yeah. And yeah, man, just to add on, like I said, when we chatted on the phone to talk about you coming on, like I knew it was going to be a great combo. Then I could tell, you just come off very easy to talk to, friendly, genuine, amazing story, dude. Really insane that you came here, across the pond and then ended up not knowing how to speak English and grew and was terrified. But honestly, look at you now. And it goes back to one of the things dude, I moved across the country from the East Coast to the West Coast and it was terrifying, right? But that change and putting yourself in these environments where you need to learn and grow does such miraculous things. And I think that's one of many things that you learned over your life to get you to the point that you are today. And that adversity, I think, is awesome in the sense that everybody that buys in the project or listens to this, you got to know that Anthony, the real deal, and he's going to do it for the right reasons, right? And then second, dude, you're the first kind of real hype project that we've had on that went through that crazy phase, had some shitty things happen, but has come on the show and is just willing to be open and talk about it. And that, like Maddie just said, that is your ultimate key to success. You've gone through the things, you're willing to be transparent and open, because what I'm calling, NFT 2.0, when we get out of this winter, bear, whatever you want to call it, those are the projects. Like, it's going to be you when you're really monetizing and the figurine things filled out, the events filled out. Phantom Network's going to be coming back with the crazy shit that I know they're building behind the scene. Hape's starting to do. Like, those are the projects that are going to get more and more interest in the community. Yes, there's still going to be your, hype and shitty rugs, and those things will still happen. But I believe how you're setting your project up is what's going to stand the test of time. So just more power to you. Really excited to start a friendship, and thank you so much for your time, man.
Appreciate having me, man. It was a great convo. I love it. And Too Deep has been,
Yeah,
letting me know you guys are the real deal. So, and I mean, I see, like you said, from the first call, from the first time we talked, I could tell it was a good convo.
Yeah. We do need to shit on Too Deep a little bit because he's been keeping the secret for a while, Too Deep has known you for a while, and it is not till now.
A moderator in the project since the beginning.
Come on, Too Deep. Too Deep. What are you doing, dude? You're holding out on us.
He's a community manager now, and honestly, like, I love the guy. Like, I don't know what I would do without him.
Honestly. Too Deep. But Too Deep was with us from day one. Like, Too Deep was the God thought he was the first, but Too Deep was actually the first. And this was when I was a Hate Beast mod, and he literally just reached out to me randomly one day, and he said, dude, I've been in a lot of Discords, and he's like, I've never met a mod like you. He's like, I just like you as a person and your vibe. He's like, sign me up for whatever you do in the future. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And like, I didn't know what to do. He's like, yeah, I do some video production and stuff. And then we started, really started hammering down on this, and he's just been amazing. So yeah, man, you got a good chap on your hands. And with all that being said, folks, Mikey G's got to run. He's got to attend to family duties. We were going to have Pons from the Plague on Thursday. Really excited to talk to him because he's created just an insane community. The times got flipped up. He's not going to be able to come. We are rescheduling. So Thursday, Maddie, we're just chill vibing and hanging out.
Okay.
But that's it. We'll see you all on Thursday. We're just going to hang out, have a good time, a little shorter stream. And then we have guests. I think I just booked the final guest. We have guests for the rest of the month. We're booked out till November already, baby.
Yeah, dog.
So thank you all for your time. We love you all. Midlife Crisis will be back on Thursday.